Alrighty then, let us talk about food storage when you are not a canner or a dehydrator. The other night on Southern Ohio Prepping Channel, Dave, who's the channel owner, myself, Prep For It Tasha, and Gil from Great Man Prepping discussed prepping and where to start. And in Tasha's case and mine, we talked mostly about how to store food if you're not a canner or a dehydrator. It is not hard. Y'all know I am a knuckle dragger. I keep things very simple. You do not need fancy storage systems. You do not need rotator racks that are special or expensive. Start where you are and in your budget. But you do want to store things that you eat. The best example we have is 2020 hindsight, and I'm talking about the year 2020, where we cannot mention the issues we had, but some of us were at home for 14 days and didn't feel comfortable going to a grocery store, didn't want to go, or things were too jiggy to go out there, so it was safer to stay at home. So if you don't want to start with 14 days of food, start with 1, 2, 3, 4. Food does not go bad on you quickly. That is not fresh produce. And that's what we're going to look at today. How to store food when you are not, like myself, a food storage enthusiast and a canner and dehydrator. If I can do it, you can do it. I ain't nothing but a mouse. So in 1999, I'm old, don't forget that, Vern and I came back from Spain. When we left and put our stuff in storage for 3.5 weeks with the company he worked for, we did not put any of our canned goods. We didn't put any pastas. We didn't put any cans of food in there. So we came back with nothing, and we had to start over. And I'm talking getting mayonnaise, mustard, capers, carrots, celery, those kind of things for your refrigerator. But I knew that we had to start storing some food, so I started simply. What is something I can make from shelf-stable food? And one of those is tuna casserole. These happen to be seashells, and I choose to put them in Mylar bags. It says it's 16 ounces, and I cook them for 11 to 12 minutes. If you can't often remember how to do something, just put you a little tag on there. I can then take tuna, black olives, peas. I only like petit pois peas, thank you. And cream of mushroom soup and make a very good tuna casserole. Now I freeze all pasta that I get for 7 days in my chest freezer in the little box they came in. That helps kill any bugs and any larvae. Then I set them out in the box on a towel to dry like 24 hours sitting on my kitchen island. So these things are not hard to do. You don't even have to have a Mylar bag, you know? So think of things you can cook and write them down. If you can knuckle drag out a tuna casserole, can you make your basic spaghetti? Maybe you only got linguine. Who cares? It's pasta. You can put it on penne. If you have ground beef to add to it, you certainly can brown that up first. These are one of my favorite marinaras. This is a fantastic base for a sauce and super affordable. Vern will pick these up when they're on sale. I have never had one go bad sitting in my darkened pantry. So think of things you can eat. Whose family does not eat spaghetti? Okay, so that gives you 2 meals. A tuna casserole, if you're a family of 4, that's enough for you to all to eat. If you're 2, you'd have leftovers for lunch and you simply bake it in the oven. Lasagna. You don't have to make a meat lasagna, but you should have lasagna, the noodle, the pasta stored. And again, I freeze this for 7 days in my chest freezer and do the same thing as I did with pasta. Soups. How about manwich mix for sloppy joes? If you can't make hamburger buns, that's one thing we could still find at the store in 2020, the old hindsight, but we couldn't really find things like white bread, but hamburger buns were plenty. If you have to, you can serve them open face over a hot dog bun. So soups are very filling, and this is the time that they go on sale. It's always struck me as odd that in the fall they put baking supplies and soups on sale, because everybody wants them then to stick to their ribs. Other things you can get, these all come on sale periodically for either 10 for $5 or 10 for $10. These are fantastic mashed potatoes. So let's say you didn't have bread. I can literally put that sloppy Joe mix over this if I needed to. Kids go nuts, but kids are weird. How about Nor sides? And again, I freeze these also for 7 days in my chest freezer. They give you little recipes on the back if you're not a great scratch cooker. So they help you with all those things. Can anybody have enough baked beans? So you don't have to can them. You can get them in a can. Black beans. You can have taco night. Black beans. You can make yourself burritos. You can do a lot of things. Rice is a wonderful filler. I choose to store mine in old cans or current Maxwell House plastic coffee cans. If food came in it, guess what it is? It's a food-safe container. You don't need fancy Tupperware. Hey, I like my Tupperware, don't get me wrong. I've got my flour and sugar in those that I use a lot. But keep it simple. Save your Cremora tubs, your coffee tubs, your number 10 cans. Another thing, little bitty chilies in a can. When we came back from Spain, one of the first things I got was 25 pounds of rice and probably about 10 cans of Dinty Moore stew, because that is very filling. I had to start somewhere before I could start back canning and doing those types of things, because I was rebuilding my entire food supply. Because I'm just not putting these kind of foods in storage in a heat and air conditioning United Van Line storage facility that the company pays for. So I've had to start over. These are wonderful things to do it from. You don't have to have a whole chest freezer. Cream cheese freezes extremely well. Any blocks of cheese like sharp cheddar, mild cheddar, those type things. Also, prep for it, Tasha processed a huge amount of bell peppers from her thriving garden this year. And she chops them up, puts them in a food saver bag, because whenever she uses them, she tends to need them in dices. I have videos on slicing mine, because we grew a whole load of red and bell peppers last year. And I sliced them, and then I put them in a food saver bag. You don't have to have a food saver sucky thing. Put it in a Ziploc bag. You're going to use them throughout the year. Don't get confused and overwhelmed by where do I start? Where do I start to store food? Knuckle dragging. Start with the basics. These are all things that are super affordable. If you don't know how to cook, start looking on YouTube for how to make a basic tuna casserole. You can also get white breast chicken in a can. You could then take your fettuccine. Instead of this sauce, red sauce, you would buy Alfredo sauce. Open your can of chicken, maybe add some peas to it or carrots, and serve it over your pasta. Now, like I said, don't get overwhelmed with having to have a perfectly cute storage system to do it. Let me show you. Okay, good. Knuckle dragger, okay? These are my stores of pasta. It's just one of them. I've had this like 855 years, okay? And I just stack in these, and they stack up on top of each other. These can slide in a closet, anywhere you need it. I don't need anything fancy to put it in. So food and water is what you want to store. And many know that we store our water. We have a 90-gallon food-safe container underneath our house that has fresh water in it. It's completely sealed, you know, the top. It's got a faucet. Every once in a while I go down and I put a teaspoon of bleach in it. So, but I also have an RO system, so I have 500 gallons of fresh water sitting in a tank. And I also have a big tote off of our air-conditioned condensation line, because I live on the coast of South Carolina, is hot. Not today. That's why I'm inside. Okay, because it's chilly. For us, it's chilly. So, but you can start out just storing some water in empty milk jugs or orange juice containers. Please don't get overwhelmed by, you need to start with perfect aqua blocks or perfect things to put your food in. You do not. And I'm going to show you a redneck rotation rack that can help for those who don't have a whole lot of space to store your cans. Just one moment, please. Please hold. These I made out of cardboard, probably 10 years ago. And this lets me add the newest soups or cream of mushroom or chicken, which I happen to like and use. And these are ideal to store. You can usually get 4 on an affordable sale. It'll be 4 for $1.50, 4 for $3, whatever. And that's where I put mine. So when I pull one out, these rotate down. It's not rocket science. If I can do it, you can do it. I just knuckle drag it out so that I have food stored. And if 2020 was not your starting point where you had to go out and people were having a fist fight over toilet paper, and I don't know why anybody needs toilet paper if they don't have food, okay, then that's not a good thing. So we didn't have to leave our house for 6 weeks because we had plenty of meals to make here. And we would have without our home canned or dehydrated goods. So don't be afraid to try, whether it's Denny Moore beef stew or storing up chicken in a can. They make chicken breast in a can just like tuna. Don't go for potted meats and heavy salty things like that because you'll be terribly thirsty and you'll hope you had a whole lot of water stored. But don't be afraid to start somewhere to where you have the things you need. And watch some simple videos. If you're not a great homemaker and cooking's not your jam, most people in that 14-day period were not working, so they couldn't swing into Starbucks and get an $8.50 cup of coffee, or swing into the convenience store and get a Gatorade and a donut later. You can find the money if you want to, and you could simply pick up a can of Denny Moore stew every week out of your grocery budget. So if you had any issues in 2020, and now we have a supply chain issue, the time to start trying is now. Don't be overwhelmed by having the perfect containers for your flour or your sugar, those type things. You can get lots of Crystal Light, lots of Kool-Aid, the things that your kids like. So just do something about storing food. Start somewhere. And you can do it out of your weekly grocery budget. You can find the money for anything that you want to do by simply maybe not eating out at McDonald's 2 times a week or ordering pizza.